You hear the voice of reason.
Welcome to another edition of Tell It How It Is, No Filter. I am your host, Voice of Reason. Thanks for joining me once again. Hope all is well. We're going to go right in. People, especially women, respond on social media faster than regular text and phone. So before the social media thing, I think social media was right behind cell phones anyway, like when cell phones got fancy and, more people acquired them and it was a thing. I think social media was right behind that. But anyway, not to do the history. The point is, it's crazy because that's how important social media is. Entertainment purposes, when we do it in a positive way, it's entertainment, right? But the addiction on it, if you really take a look at numbers and stats, the addiction is real. Because if this statement could be made and have truth to it, we are too infatuated, too dedicated, and too invested in social media. Because that sounds crazy. Some people may say they're not a texter, but if you're on social media, you kind of sound bugged out because the responses, comments, etc., the activity that you do on social media requires texting. I get it if people just answer their phone and phone calls, are more direct, more like I'm trying to reach you aggressively. So, yeah, I just wanted to really point that out. That's not really something to sit on. Pause. Notice that with your peoples though. I know everybody has somebody or maybe a couple of bodies that's true. You text them on a regular phone. They respond whenever, if right away. But then you see them on social media. And I'm not even talking I'm talking in general. I don't even mean like a couple. I just mean people, period, when you're trying to reach them. There's a couple people I could shout out, yo, how you? And, they may not respond to the text, but social media, they right away, there are the jokes about it is in a setting of dating or people are trying to date and they'll ignore the regular text, but you see them on social media and you're like, yo, so they just egging me. Got it. Words of advice. If somebody's hitting you on your regular phone and you don't answer, you may not care. You probably don't care. If somebody's hitting you on your regular phone and you don't answer, but you active on social media, that looks crazy. But again, you may not care. All right, so I just wanted to point that out about the social media thing, how invested, how important it is. Even that time when they shut down TikTok for 24 hours, people were losing it. They was venting on other social media platforms about the no TikTok. So imagine if all of that shit, every platform shut down for a week. Think about that. If social media shut down for a week, what would you do? I'll let you ponder on that. What would you think the masses do? How would the overall world respond to that? That shows how important and dependent people are on this social media joint. All right? Brave women who approach men, are they less attractive? How do they view themselves? Does that say something about the guy? This comment is too exact to be like a case in 100% of the times. What this is really saying is, fellas, tell me if you relate. Anywhere you are, social gathering, traveling, period, the attention you get, the energy you get from a woman, in most cases, if it's strong, how do they look? What's their appearance like? Unless you just next level. Like, you see, this is why this is not these topics, these conversations aren't 1,000. It's not 100% of the time. It's not 90% of the time. It's just conversation and opinions and what it may seem to look like majority of the time. So that's the only breakdown I got for you. Fellas, all women who have either approached you or made it seem like they have interest aggressively, whether in long stares, in your vicinity, you know, action. They actually had action behind their shit. How did they look? How did their appearance look? Majority. You know, I want you to be confident. I want to hear good stories of attractive women, beautiful women doing this. But there's a method to my madness. I feel like, especially today, we're not going to go back in the day. If we go back to 2000s and before, you may have more of the pretty women doing that. I feel like today, going back to social media's importance, today, if you got a woman approaching you, I'm sorry, fellas. If 5 women approach you in a week, I got one of them looking like very hot. And I'm definitely exaggerating. 5 in a week, I mean, you the man, my G. It's complimentary though, and I talked about this on other segments. Like, we just love acknowledgement sometimes, you know, the same way women do. And I'm gonna get into something about that similar after. But that's dope. So in general, not to bash the women who are aggressive, who do approach men, you got to question yourself. What confidence you have in yourself? How do you view yourself, ladies, that do this? And I'm going to just give you some comfort. Regardless of how the man responds, regardless of the outcome, regardless of how you think that make you look, it is appreciated on the low. Sorry, men. I don't know. Sorry for the men who didn't show you that or say that. Because whether it's a decline or acceptance, it's beautiful. Like, I love it. And it doesn't matter what the situation is, what the status is of that man. An approach is complimentary regardless. Yes, we're judging what they look like. It's going in our resume. But all in all, that's dope. And, you know, I'm going to speak for all men on that. And I think that's dope. Just approaching men in general, letting them know you have interest or putting yourself in position at all to be noticed is dope. I can't stress that enough. But women, ask yourself that, and men, ask yourself too. You know, I would love to really hear some comments and feedback on the percentages. Men, are we overwhelmed? Did we get approached by such beautiful women we don't know who to choose, how to choose? It gets tricky. Or do we get approached rarely by that? So do you feel obligated when it's a pretty person, a beautiful woman, I mean, that you have to respond, right? Listen, you live your life how you see fit. I'm just going to say again for the last time, ladies, we love a compliment. We love an attempt. You know, we worry about rejection a lot because we're the aggressors. We're supposed to set it off. But if you take that stress off, no matter how it play out, real people, real men, going to be like, I can appreciate that. You know what I mean? And I really doubt, you know, not to stir it up, but I guess I got to voice of reason it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share, spread the word. But I feel like men are less rude about it. When they're approached by a woman, no matter what they think of the woman, I don't have most men being rude about that interaction at all. Vice versa, though. When men approach women, that's another setback. You know, we don't want rejection, and then we don't want rude. I think I could, you know, a calm no, not interested. Yeah, that stings a little bit. But any type of attitude or negative energy in that interaction, that's like worse. So, you know, ladies, if you're wondering why guys are not approaching as much when you feel like it, when you think you put on your best, when you think you're looking hot. It's not just about the rejection. We get an attitude too sometimes. Like we ain't supposed to say nothing. Like this is not how the game go. So that's also in the way. We can't blame that on everybody and say that that's how all interactions are going to go. But it definitely gets in the way of wanting to sometimes. Definitely. You kind of analyze the body language for real before we even say, nah, I'm good. All right. Men that keep trying, mostly, have ill intentions. Good intention men are one and done, mostly. Ladies, you could agree or disagree, but I'm about to give you game, and the fellas may not want me to give you this game right here. I throw myself in, so I don't feel like, I could always give me as an example to show you that I stand on business. So, fellas and me, ill intentions, we won't go as far as something real like vicious or malicious. Ill intentions could just simply be, we just want to sleep with you. We just want sex. So we're going to take it from that angle. So men that are just trying to have sex will keep trying and trying based on the interaction. You can't be too rude. Maybe they still a go. The point is, without trying to dig too deep, just trying to score is a lot of men that will have all the patience in the world for your rude ass, for your rejection, for your funky attitude. So if you see he keeps spinning, every time y'all have interaction or every time y'all come across each other's path, whether on social media, face to face, he keep going. That's not 100. Remember what I said. This does not mean 100% of the time. But a lot of the times, this means it's one thing in mind. Ladies are going to fumble this a lot and didn't even know you fumbled. Good intention men, most of them are one and done. This thing about chasing and keep trying. Yo, rest in peace, Aaliyah. I loved Aaliyah when, I'm not going to go there. That was really touching. But that if at first you don't succeed, nah. Good intention men, alpha men, masculine men, successful men, busy men, it's one and done. If that interaction ain't go right, it's a little off. It seems like we forced your hand or we're forcing your hand. Most of us is like, all right, you ain't got to worry. We off this. And that's that. Now, it's sad in a way. I won't even call it sad. I'll be like, I was saying sad because you kind of bring this on yourself, ladies. So now, sometimes, if the good intention man was one and done and then you try to spin on him, it will turn into ill intentions, possibly. Because the same way as like when we interact with women and approach them and break ice and set it off, we're being judged by the second, by the minute. The impression is an immediate judgment. And it's kind of one-sided because we're being so heavily judged immediately. But vice versa, didn't I just say it's comforting for a woman to approach a guy? So even if she doesn't do it in the craftiest way, we still shocked. I always said the example. I said this example that happened to me once. A young lady was walking. I was walking the opposite of directions. They going this way, I'm going that way. They have their phone in their hand. They asked me, do I have the time? I told her what time it was, and I kept it pushing. I knew already, though. I was like, and people, ladies, I told us to defend it. Maybe her phone died. Maybe she did just want to spark a conversation with you. The point is, even if I ain't respond to that the right way or the way that she would have liked me to, I still acknowledge it because I talk about it. So it was still dope, even though you're like, you got a phone. You don't need the time for real. But if a guy does that, ladies, if a guy walks up to you with his phone in his hand and asks you for the time, if you feeling him, if there's something you peeped already and you was already on his radar, yeah, then you're going to be cool about it, right? Like, nah, that was cute. That was cute. But if you wasn't even looking at him, paying him no mind, ain't notice him, and he say that, you would look at him like he's crazy. Like, you got a whole phone in your hand. That's getting off, but I was just showing you. So just know, ladies, I gave you the cheat code. You're welcome. If a guy approaches you and you're not really interested, or you just give like your social media, you do the bare minimum to say, I may put you in the archives for a possible interaction, for a possible chance at seeing if you would even go anywhere with this guy. Because that's how real y'all are. Y'all got archives, y'all got backup archive. Like, this shit is crazy. But just know, if that's the energy, if you gave some half-ass energy, but there's a way for him to interact with you in any sense, social media, or y'all just gonna cross paths every day, or however that happened, if he keeps trying, most likely he's just trying to score. Because again, I got most good intention men. He'll approach you, you give that half-ass energy, and you can. I'm not trying to threaten you or give you ultimatums here. You can. That half-ass energy, that weird energy, or however you want to be based on, I guess, your mood that day. It's pretty much a wrap with the good intention man. I mean, that's signs. Just because ill intentions and good intentions, that don't make it a matchmaker for you. Maybe that's not your guy or could be your guy. But at least this is something to point you in the direction. You understand? So that's that with that. Sometimes women set attention traps just cause. Fellas, I can't approach this from a negative stance. I gotta honestly say, salute to women. Keep it up. It works. Social media especially. Because I don't think they can set a trap live. Ladies, if you care to comment, you reach this point of my segment, tell me, what would you do in person to set attention traps? And there's things I could think of, but I ain't gonna help you. I'm not sitting here naive like I don't know. I want you to tell me. But I'm going to just stick to the social media attention traps. Posting stories. When they out with their girls at a party and the music is playing. It might just be with one homegirl. They could be by themselves. I really doubt that they're by themselves with this. But they're with their homies, right? The music is on. They'll twerk, shake their ass in the story. And fix whatever they got on because it might show too much cheek. That's attention trap for sure. Now women gonna be like, I was having a good time. I'm just recording my good time. I don't care what you say. There's more than one reason. So that could be a reason for sure. But you also doing it as an attention trap. When you post any picture of yourself, and that's how diabolical the world is, because some women, this is why, fellas, I can't get mad. Some women could set this attention trap without really showing their body and being illicit. Just a face pic if they that pretty. They know what their attributes are. They show just their face. They may show just their chest up. They may show a side angle. And they're going to say, that's my social media. I can do what I want. Whatever caption they put with the words, whatever caption they put with the pic. Fellas, we can't avoid this. Are you falling for this? You going for that? That's gonna be a phrase I say ever so often. And that's just them, that feeds their ego, that, gives them confidence, because a lot of them need it. And they could go on a run. Like, there's women on social media that are consistent every day, every other day, showing their best angles and best photos and best twerk. But their confidence is still not what you think it would be. And a lot of them are probably lonely. They probably cursing men out in their head, in their group chats. They not dealing with men right now. They doing them hot girl summer, and guys don't understand, and men ain't shit, and all kind of fuckery going on, fellas. I'm warning you, there's nothing you can do. So these attention traps can coincide with this ill intention thing. So good intention men, you can't set an attention trap for him. I mean, maybe you can, because if you do get him to bite, it's still one and done though. The ill intention ones, you're going to get more. Sorry to say this, ladies, The more attention traps you set, the more of the ill-intentioned guy will come. Because what are we talking about here? Like, cut it out. So just be aware. So I just gave game to both men and women on those last two, right? It's crazy how it go though. And then I'm gonna close out. Time is more valuable than money and pussy, sex combined. So I've touched on this so much. When things don't go right, and this is a general statement, but I'm gonna go specifically with relationships. For the man and the woman sometimes, a lot of the times, I'll give y'all that too. Your time. You know what I mean? We sit here and we get this shit twisted because fellas think they bread that we work hard for is the most valuable. I work hard for it. Sweat, blood, sweat, and tears. And I choose to spend my money with you, on you, with you. Diabolical in a way. Ladies, I got this good coochie, this good pussy. My sex is all that. And I chose to give it to you. It's the most valuable. Negative. Both parties are incorrect. You can't tell me that any of those things hold more value than your time. Do I have to break it down in layman terms? Fellas, your money, right? You're a hustler. You're going to get more money. It didn't matter that you spent the money there. No matter how much bread you lose. Being reckless with it, yeah, you need to kind of like discipline yourself to be smarter and be less reckless. I don't feel like we ever get to a point where we're never reckless with money, but you should get less reckless. But also keep in mind that you're going to get more. Sorry, ladies. Your pussy and sex can be the bomb. It can be all that and a bag of chips. There's more out there. There's more for him to get. It's an abundance based on the individual and their likes. Sorry to shut down what you thought was the most valuable. Fellas, I know a lot of you, not to call y'all simps or tricks, you lead with your money, you think your money could do the damn thing. And listen, if you feel like it's an equal trade-off to use that strategy to get what you want, and you good with that, and ladies, the same thing. You sit there, you know, you want to say, I'm selective with who I give my body to. I'm not a hoe. I'm not just popping off with anybody. I value my vagina. None of those is wrong mentalities to have. It's still not more valuable than time. I don't give a fuck if you only slept with one guy your whole life. We're not going to discuss body count. It don't matter how spread it out it is, how much of a break you give it, how much you clean it, wash it the right way, keep it righteous, shave, wax, laser. I don't give a fuck. It still don't light a candle to time. So anybody struggling in life, everybody who's not in a good mental headspace, ask them why. And if they're mature, it's time lost. People who go to jail and come home, that was time lost. People who invest in relationships that don't work out, it's time lost. People who spend 5, 10, 15 years in a company and it just goes left, it's time lost. You're going to lose all of these things regardless. You're going to make money, you're going to lose money. You're going to get sex, you're going to lose sex. The time should be the most important. You're not perfect, you're a human. If you're going to take a blow, let something bother you longer than it should be a time wasted. And that's retarded sort of because you're wasting more time thinking about the time you wasted. That's crazy, right? But it's still to me making the most sense of what should really hold you back or have you in any type of funk. Snap out of it. Get better, though. Get over it. Move on. Eventually, yeah, you got to do that. Put your big boy pants on. Put your big girl drawers on, because I'm talking to both men and women. But the money and the sex will never light a candle. You could combine them. You could combine and triple them motherfuckers. You hear me? So protect your time the most. Try to protect your time the most. You hear me? Closing out bonus one real quick. Stay positive in your thoughts as possible. I've said this before, but I want to hit something specific right here. Tell me if this is true or not. If you think positive, majority of the time, you wishing for something or you keeping good spirits for something to happen for you, it could be calm, just like a smooth day ahead. Or you could have other goals or things you want to happen for you. Any of these things, you got like a 50-50 chance of that happening for real. Just putting it in the air or thinking it, right? Is it me, or do I feel like when you put negative in the air, that shit like 80-20. 80% is going to happen, 20% it ain't. When you put the negative in the air. But when you put the positive, it might only be 50-50. Now, I didn't say that and give you those numbers to discourage you. You should still stay positive. Anything, I'm trying to push you to remain more positive in thinking and thoughts and what you put in the air, because it's harder to acquire. So you should be at that more. Because it's 50-50, you should be at that and in that mindset more. Negative is like a cop-out. It's like giving up, because it's like you think negative, and how is that stronger to happen? Tell me if I'm bugging. It's stronger to happen when you think negative. Yo, today I don't know. I ain't feeling it. We use that, though, in some type of still positive. Because let's say you going to work tomorrow, you wake up, you're like, nah, I don't think it's going to be a good day. So you call out sick. Now, how does that work? Does the calling out nip in the butt the fact that something negative was going to happen, so now nothing negative will happen because you didn't go? Or is that still a negative action because that's what it took, instead of facing it and not thinking it was going to be a bad day? But I'm picking at it too much now because, people feel how they feel. But I was just to go there real quick on a spontaneous thought. You give me what your input is on that. But I do support the fact that let's put positive in the air way more than negative, because the numbers are at a disadvantage. You hear me? So till the next time, my 3 Ps: stay pushing, stay positive, stay progressive. Peace.